put your squad up.
Yo, what up, bro?
Ooh.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Out the Gates. I'll be your boy, DC the Guide, and we have our main man, John G _NY at an undisclosed location, looking mad proper. What it do, baby?
Good evening, Dan. I thank you for the introduction. I'm sorry I'm yelling. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just so excited. I'm up in the sticks. The Yankees are playing the same no matter where I'm at, bro. So let's get into it, baby. Winning out here.
When I said we was country.
Yes, indeedy. We are back live and direct.
Settle down, everyone. We got to get into the show.
Yeah, you're right. Yo, you're an original comedian, bro. Happy Thursday, everyone. Yours Day. We got a lot to get into. Some things have happened in the past 2 weeks. It's kind of funny because in that time that we've taken off, it's like we've gone through a roller coaster of a season already, right? We started off strong by sweeping the White Sox, which we happened to go to that game. We had the Game 6 outing, which was an incredible success. By the way, once again, thank you for everybody that came. It was absolutely enjoyable. You know, we loved it, baby. We loved it. And then we thought things were going to go well in the sense, hey, here we come. We're going to go against the Tigers. That didn't fare out well. But the most recent series, of course, the Yankees versus the Rays, which we split. I guess all things considered, it could have been much worse. But, going into the game, into that series, losing game one, just coming off the fresh sweep with the Tigers, obviously that wasn't an ideal situation. I think we were all very livid about that. Then we bounce back. We win game 2 and 3. And then you spoke about this, and so did many other people in the group once you brought it up. But you had to feel good about our chances with Garrett Cole coming out and potentially taking a sweep against one of the hottest teams in baseball, or excuse me, not a sweep, but 3-1. And unfortunately, as luck would have it, that didn't go as planned today.
Yeah, man. I mean, 6-6 when Cole starts. He didn't have his top stuff today. The umpiring was ridiculous, which we'll get into a little bit later. It's unfortunate, man. It used to feel like a lock in the first month of the season. This has got to change. When Cole pitches, it's got to be near automatic that we get a dub. But I think his last 4 or 5 starts, Dan, have not been that great. So that's definitely got to turn around. He's our ace, and we're paying him $30 million plus for games like this to be a lockdown. But I'll tell you one thing. And I'd hate to say it, it seems, aside from that one game he had against the Rays earlier this year, the Rays have gotten to him a couple times now. Also in the playoffs, it wasn't like they got to him big time, but they did. Right. They did get the long ball off of him, and that's been his issue against them.
Absolutely, he surrendered a long ball today to Austin Meadows, and it's unfortunate because this actually happened just a little bit before, which this in itself,
and he goes into the screen and then tumbles onto the tarp.
That right there was, that was funny in itself. But had that out been made, and obviously, Urshela with the shift was damn near playing shortstop, so that would have been an incredible play to make either way. But very next pitch, Austin Meadows sends it into the right field bleachers, and then it's up 2-1. and there was no looking back. And there were a bunch of egregious calls, as you mentioned. This being one of them, or excuse me, this one being one of them. Strike zone was
pitches off the plate
ridiculous today. Okay, obviously, like Yarborough was their bulk guy, who he hadn't gone as long and as effective as he has, but today he had the help of this umpire at the plate that showed incredible inconsistencies when it came to balls and strikes. And I really hate when it kind of comes off that the Rays are just being the Rays and like they have the Yankees number. There were so many things that happened today. You also had the interesting thing that happened with Kiermaier, him damn near running out the base paths. First base umpire called him safe. That opened the floodgates.
That was terrible. That was terrible. Terrible. That's worse than the balls and strikes to me. That's because that's obvious. It's obvious.
Right. No, yeah, absolutely.
It's crazy.
It was not what you want to see. And the hitting woes just they still continue, and even with everything that's gone on today, even though you hate to completely blame the umpires, the Yankees are at fault as well for continuing to not deliver in clutch situations. At one point we had 2 runners on, nobody out. That was the whole Clint Frazier at bat, where he basically saw 5 balls, and the only ball that came close to the strike zone was the ball that actually struck him out. So this isn't where we want to be, but again, it's not about the sprint; it's about the marathon. And 2-2 against the Rays, although 3-1 would have been better. You hope that the Yankees build off of this. I feel like the score today was not reflective of like what this series actually was in the last few games, because even though we lost game 1 against them, it was still a pretty close match,
right,
where we fell 3-1. But yeah, some of those hitting woes, man. 26 in the league at the moment as far as average goes, with a 227 batting average, 315 on base percentage. That's 13th. 373 slugging. The Yankees aren't hitting home runs. They're gonna have to find another way to win. And historically, at least in the last few seasons during the Boone era, that's how the Yankees have won, with the long ball. So when you have numbers like 373, 23rd slugging percentage, 688 OPS, 213 runs scored, which is 24th in the league, and then this is a laughable stat anyway because of the 13 stolen bases, which is 30th in the league. But we've made like 30 outs on the base paths. With that in itself is completely and utterly disgraceful that we've gotten to that point. And you just hope that we'll sort of figure it out at some point. I guess that's really all there is to it. Some takeaways from this series: Miguel Andujar looks like he's starting to come around offensively. He's had a few home runs in the last few games, which are fantastic. Maybe the Yankees get another call up and bring up Chris Gittens, who's a first baseman that's been slugging down there. We haven't seen Luke Voigt in a while. We probably won't see him with that oblique strain. The pitching has been good. Obviously, you don't want to see Garrett Cole give up 5 runs, but he isn't invincible. And as you mentioned, the Rays appear to somewhat have his number. He just kind of looked a little off today. Didn't really look settled in.
No, he didn't. And just a real quick shout out to everybody that's in the chat on Facebook and on YouTube. We got Miguel. What's up, Migs? We got Jose. We got Gil on YouTube. What's up? So yeah, Dan. Dale brings up a good point. The whole league is not hitting, but I have to say this: we split with the Rays 2-2, right? Mm-hmm. If it was just this next sentence is crazy. This next sentence just is insane right now after 2 months of what this guy has done. We would have gotten swept if it wasn't for Clint Frazier this series.
Word.
Like he came through in the bottom of the 11th, and he had a big situational game hitting yesterday. That
walk off.
right. Well, he had the walk off, and then he had the 2-run single yesterday. Yeah. So I mean, we were that close away from getting swept to this from this team. It's not terrible, Dan. It's not terrible splitting the series, considering how we were playing coming into the series. We would have liked to take 3. We talked a lot on Clubhouse with our Gate 6 people on Sunday, and it was the predictions were not high for the Rays and the Red Sox this week. But we're in position now to turn the table against this is our first meeting with the Red Sox coming up.
Yep. First time that we're meeting against these Red Sox. So we're at this moment, we're certainly in control of our fate as far as the division is concerned. And right now, we're 2 games in back of the Red Sox. So with this series at the stadium this weekend, we can leap over and potentially get into second place. I mean, it's kind of crazy to think that we're in third place right now. We're not out by a lot, 4.5 games out of first, 2 behind the Red Sox. So we have the potential to go into second place. It's been messy, but if we could stem the tide and kind of get to where we get our guys back, whether it's Sevy, Britton, find a way to win these games like they did the past 2 games, I think that's going to have to be the formula moving forward, because we've seen that home runs aren't really a huge factor with this team anymore. I mean, even that home run that Clint Frazier hit the other night, the walk-off home run against the Rays, that barely made the seats. And obviously, even though MLB won't admit it, they decided to dead the ball again to kind of bring them the hitters back to reality. You couple that with all the things that the pitchers have been able to achieve in the last 15 years or so, as far as like velocity. The average is 98.3 miles per hour thrown in the league now. There was an article out today that the league is going to start cutting down on some of these sticky substances that are being used, but obviously those sticky substances, they contribute to spin rate. And that's a big thing, man. If somebody is throwing 100 miles per hour and then they come with a slider that has this drastic drop out of the zone, that's really difficult to just keep up with,
Yo, it's no coincidence that when did this report come out? This couple days ago, yesterday?
Yeah, it's been unfolding in the past 2 days, but I think today they officially made it known that they are going to pursue this and really investigate what's going on.
Do you see what's going on here, bro? Do you see what's going on?
What's going on, bro?
Doctored balls. It's out in the open now. Game time is on, and Gardy goes Yardy, bro. You know what this means?
I know what it means. Oh, you mean this Yardy?
This means that the balls have been doctored before this against Gardy.
Yo. So actually, that's
no more
another
substances. You get Gardy parties.
That's another big thing to come out of this series. I mean, he came close to being 3 for 3 if it were not for an outstanding play by Brandon Lau, who actually robbed him of a single, but he had a home run. He had a double. And listen, enough can't be said about the ability for this man to be able to play center field at his age. He tracks these balls down. Even my father gives him props. He's like, listen, if there's anything I can say about Brett Gardner, is he is a genuine center fielder that knows how to play the position, even though he's played left field for the majority of his career here.
He's the only center fielder on the team.
Yeah, well, so I mean that's actually a great point that you bring up. So, moving forward, what do we want to see? Okay, what are the biggest holes right now? Obviously, the outfield is a problem. There's some names that are being floated out there, whether it's Marte of the Diamondbacks. I know people have mentioned Joey Gallo. Me personally, I don't really want to see Joey Gallo at Yankee Stadium simply because he's just kind of like an all or nothing guy. And I think that's one of the things that we need to sort of try to move away from, where we're not having someone else that accumulates over 150 strikeouts on this roster. Obviously,
yeah, he's not the answer right now, bro.
Right. Shoring up the infield would be nice too. Gleyber Torres had some crucial errors the other night, even though overall he's played some pretty good shortstop. But it seems like in really pivotal situations, he continues to make the play that just sort of opened the floodgates, which was what led to the Rays winning 3-1 essentially in that first game. And that's something that needs to be addressed. The base running and the defense are some really big things. So where does that leave us? Is that needs to be perhaps a philosophical change, right? Me personally, I don't really think that it has much to do with Aaron Boone or a manager in general, because the manager is just really the poster child for the front office now, the sabermetrics. They're executing a plan, and the manager is now supposed to follow through with that plan. If the manager doesn't follow through with the plan, then I think they'll be on the hot seat. So I just think overall, baseball just needs to go away from crunching the numbers and going back to understanding that there's more to people than just binary numbers. The moment, being able to deliver in clutch situations, riding the hot hand, even though perhaps historically a hitter might not be doing well against a certain pitcher. I think these are things we need to revisit, man.
Yeah, but that goes with Boone, no? And I actually like Aaron Boone. I just think that when you ride the hot hand, you see someone like, Stan earlier in the year have 3 consecutive good games with home runs in each, and then all of a sudden he has a day off. Stuff like that. I think Boone definitely has a hand in those situations. I'm sure he's told, listen, Stan's played X amount of games. He's just coming off an injury. You need to factor in an off day. But I feel like he's kind of like a pushover. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like whatever is told to him, he's just going to do. And sometimes you need somebody. And I think it could be appreciated from the front office if he was to say, you know what, guys, I know my guys. And I know that this guy needs to be in the lineup today. And, you said something earlier today, Dan, when we were texting. And you said that maybe Boone, because, there's this whole thing. Boone is not fired up enough. He's not, storming out there and ripping the lineup, but maybe he's doing it behind closed doors because he, one, wants to keep his job, two, knows that they're going to turn it around at some point. Maybe that's the case, but I think he needs to really individual players like get sparked by different ways. You know what I'm saying? And he needs to be able to find that, and I don't think he's been able to do that. I think he just waits until, all right, this guy's going to come around at some point. He has a couple games that are good, and then he's just like, all right, see, he's good. But that's not the case sometimes, man. Sometimes you need to tap into your guys. It's not just, let's just sit back, relax when you're asked questions like, oh, yeah, we all care. Don't worry about it. I don't want to hear that we care. That shouldn't even be something that we talk about. You're being paid millions of dollars. You all should care,
right.
So
I agree. It is cringeworthy when presser after presser, he gets up there and he utters those words, we're almost there, we're going to turn the corner. I think he needs a better choice of words, but also at the same time, just as we're baffled, I'm sure he's baffled as well. Now, you don't want to hear that considering that he's the manager, but I'll put something into perspective, and we spoke a bit about this on the side. He's been the Yankee manager for 3 years now. He's been thrown out 13 times. This is his second time this season. At what point, do you become like the boy that cries wolf by just doing it all the time, and you just sort of you kind of come off as like this loony, like, oh, well, there goes this manager again, just going off the rails. And then I think it just sort of loses its flair and doesn't mean as much. Now, do I agree he could show a little more emotion? Sure. But hey, look, we lived through one of the greatest dynasties in the history of this team. Joe Torre never went off the rails. You know what I'm saying? He never went off. Like occasionally he did, he got thrown out and he said his gripe with the league and the umpires. But overall, his sister, not sure if she's still alive or not, but I know that she was a nun, one of his sisters. And that was one of the things that he tried to instill in himself as far as like being a baseball manager. I just don't really know how much it impacts the game as much as we like really put so much stake in.
You're right, Dan. Yeah, you're right, man. What happens is when we have a bad stretch, you have to start pointing the fingers at something, and sometimes it's always just like, well, who's the one that's getting these guys ready? Primarily when you mention stuff like the base running, and you mention these boneheaded mistakes, when we're used to, we're a little bit older. We've seen the '90s. You could see that if someone made a base running mistake, you're going to see them talk to in the dugout, maybe pulled out of the game, or maybe they'll say something and we'll be able to see it. Maybe we don't see it, but maybe it does happen because it's not going to be in the public eye, which you pointed out earlier. Real quick, I wanted to just shout out a couple people that just joined. Marina, what's up? Thank you for joining. Everybody, by the way, hit a like on the YouTube, hit a like on the Facebook, please. If you like watching, Casey, what's up? We also have Fam Ang, Stephen Ang, what's up? We got Jesse. We got Jesse here. What's up?
Yo, what up? What up?
Yeah. So you bring up some good points, Dan. Boone is not going to be. He's not the reason why we're struggling, but it just adds to the frustration when you see boneheaded mistakes, especially on the base paths. By the way, I just saw something that Talking Yanks just put up, that the Astros just passed the Yankees for double play ground balls. So we're now not the worst. We're not the worst.
Yo, let's run that back. We are not the worst. You heard that? We here. We here. But yeah, obviously when things are going wrong, we sort of look in many directions to find out what the culprit is. And I generally think that the culprit is that the game has just become overly analytical. And I think that we spoke about this on the clubhouse. I think the Yankees are just caught in the middle right now. They're trying to do what's trendy and keep up with all these other teams. And to Miguel's point, which he said that day, was the reason why the Rays and lower market teams do that is because they don't have the financial backing that big market teams like the Yankees have. Mm-hmm. So be the New York Yankees. Establish your own identity. Go back to what made you win, right? The last time we won in 2009, what was the formula? They went out and they got the studs. They got CC Sabathia, AJ Burnett, and Mark Teixeira. They brought those guys in, and whatever they had going on with A-Rod, Jeter, and the rest of the team, it all culminated, and it equaled number 27. And since then, they've sort of steered away from that, whether it's to stay under the cap or they're trying to do the opener and the bulk and this and that, and they're just getting caught in between. And we're seeing this.
Stop getting cute, yo. We don't need to be cute.
Right.
I mean, me and you need to be cute. The Yankees don't need to be cute.
That's right. I agree. I agree. But, a lot to hope for over the next few days to start off the series. It's going to be tomorrow. Michael King got the tap to toe the slab up in the boogie down against the Red Sox. He's going to go up against Nathan Eovaldi. And then after on Saturday, it's going to be Eduardo Rodriguez versus Jameson Taillon. And then Domingo on a Sunday, Domingo Germán versus Garrett Richards, who I absolutely destroyed the last person that used him against me in MLB The Show. So I would like to see the Yankees do the same thing.
Yeah, man.
You heard?
Dan, it's time. It's time to get in to a new segment. New segment.
What? Tell them why you mad, son. Well, I think this kind of ties into a little bit of the discussion that we had before, but part of my frustration with baseball is how it's just so stuck in time, right? Whether it's the venues that are now being built in areas like Minnesota that are traditionally cold without a retractable roof. Here in New York as well, the same thing. Weather is still a factor in baseball in the year 2021. Fast forward to the simple fact that these umpires are absolutely egregious. And the fact that the league continues to overlook umpires like Phil Cuzzy, Angel Hernandez, they put them in these really volatile situations that cost teams a big game, man. And I really want to see at some point a robo ump. Give me an electronic strike zone. These umpires continue to show inconsistencies. Today, Ryan Yarborough versus Garrett Cole. Yarborough was getting calls from Weston where and Cole wasn't. Like Aaron Boone literally said during his conversation before he was tossed with the umpire, we have the best pitcher in the world on the hill, and you're giving the calls to Yarborough and not Garrett Cole. Now, whether or not you want to make the argument that the umpire had a bias against the Yankees. I mean, I for one think that the Yankee bias is real. Just look at this. Look at the ball to strike ratio. A lot of these were called strikes. These yellow balls that were just on the outside, which is absolutely ridiculous, man. Like, why in 2021 we have all this technology and this continues to be an issue, right? Let me not even go into replay. I'm going to go into replay. Okay. Replay has become like this fossil of a shell of itself where you have the umpire that made the call and the crew chief. They walk over to like this TV that looks like, this device that looks like it's from 1975. They put on these headphones. Why? I don't even know, because it's being looked at over in Chelsea at MLB Studios. And then the people on that end are making the call. Why doesn't the umpire, the crew chief, already just have some kind of device that just says like out, safe, whatever? And then the idea that there are certain things that you can review and not review, that's a little ridiculous to me, because isn't the whole point of review is to get it right? So those are areas that they need to look at, man, how to improve it, how to get away from this really prehistoric approach as far as the functionality of these really crucial parts of the game.
Yeah, and you bring up a lot of good points. It was very frustrating today. I caught half the game. Casey, as you see up on the screen, I don't get why they project the strike zone on TV if they're not going to hold the umps accountable when they get it wrong over and over again. Isn't that the dumbest thing ever? So
Yeah,
you're gonna project the box, and then when it's not in the box and you see that the umps are wrong, all it does is get everybody more frustrated. If they took it away, doesn't make it right or wrong, but at least it wouldn't be exacerbated by it.
Yeah.
Chop slowly to
This
first.
is a perfect
LeMahieu
example here. Like,
does
look at this.
not-
Are you kidding me?
He certainly did.
Out of the base
On
path.
the line there, you can see the tag not applied.
What are they looking at, bro? Like, I don't understand it. And to your point, and to Casey's point, if we are seeing this on TV and we're seeing the replay, why aren't these plays being reviewed properly, and why can't they get it right? I don't understand it, man. And the fact that Angel Hernandez, who is a terrible umpire and so awful at his job, now he has an open lawsuit against MLB talking about discrimination. He continues to get these really crucial games in the playoffs. It's unbelievable, man.
Yeah, it's pretty bad today. Today was pretty bad when it comes to the umps. You saw that with Boone. You saw it a few times, balls and strikes, that play at first base. And the thing is, Dan, if it didn't impact the game that much, it probably would be something that we're not talking about. But it ended up allowing, what was that inning? Was that the 3-run inning?
Yeah, that opened the floodgates,
Right.
man. That was when he gave up the 3 runs, and then his total stat line he gave up were 5 runs. So that was it right there. That which he obviously ran out of the base paths, man. And listen, let me tell you, there is nobody that's more frustrating on that team to me than Kevin Kiermaier. This guy, whether he's stretching like a ballerina in the outfield or just doing all these like really ridiculous things that just gets under my skin. And that's a prime example right there. Like, How does that not even impact like what goes on? It was nothing like what Javi Baez did the other day against the Pirates, right? Which that was hysterical, where he stayed in the baseline, so that was totally legal. But the entire reason why DJ LeMahieu was not allowed to get the tag was because he was like 3 feet off the baseline. So it's insane, man.
Yeah. Well, Dan, I wanna tell you why I'm mad.
Tell me why you mad, son.
You know why I'm mad? And there's a light at the end of the tunnel about why
Okay.
I'm mad, and it just started.
All
I'm
right.
really, really mad. It took 2 months for them to realize that something was wrong with the freaking baseballs again. 2 months.
2 months.
Do you know how many Gardy parties we would have had already? Do you know how many downtown goes Frazier we would have had by now?
Yo, what about the do can do?
The dude can do. Look at this guy, bro. Look at this guy. Miguel Andujar can't do anything on defense. By the way, he hasn't made any drastic errors, so that's good so far. But
Right.
he's been able to hit. I'm just wondering why it took 2 months for them to say, "Oh, you know what? We're gonna start looking into this right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna start looking into the spin rate. We're gonna start looking into the substances that people
Right.
just get off their hat. We've been seeing this for years. Now you want to look into it? Fine. Where was this 2 months ago? That's the only reason I'm mad. It took too long.
Yeah.
It,
Well,
it
I
took
think
it took all of us being upset about our start and everybody batting around 220 for this to happen.
I think this sort of rolls into Rob Manfred as a commissioner. He's seeing how certain things are gaining traction as far as fans and attracting new fans and that sort of thing. We saw how he handled the scandal with the Astros. Okay, we saw how they handled with the 2018 Red Sox. They don't want to admit that they are wrong or that they know of anything that is wrong. They want to keep it on the hush because they want to continue to grow the league and make money. But at whose expense? The real fans that like we know what's up, and you just keep telling us to our face like, no, there's nothing going on, and then suddenly now it's like, oh, hey, guess what? You guys were right all along. But to your point, why did it have to take this long?
Why? Yeah. Why this long? And I'm only saying that because listen, we're in the middle of a season. It's still early. It's in June. We're in the middle of the NBA and the NHL playoffs that baseball has to compete with, right?
Right.
Yes, the Knicks were playing, so I was watching those games along with the Yankees. But I'll tell you what, tomorrow night, the Yankees play the Red Sox. I'll be tuned in. But
Yes,
there's
sir.
also NBA playoffs going on. And the games have gotten so boring with baseball that I'm leaning more to watching some more basketball right now. And it's because it's playoffs where I'm not tuned in to watch. I mean, it's going to be Yankees Red Sox, so I'll definitely have it on simulcast with basketball. But, you know, it's as if they have no other competition. You know, like this should have happened already. I'm glad that it's happening, so I'm not going to complain about that. But let's just see what happens. Because what if they come back and they say, you know what? It's not that big of a problem.
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely. Yeah. To your point, they're gonna have to do something to really because they're losing the
Yeah,
genuine
KC
fans.
ratings are probably dropping.
Absolutely.
Stanley Cup playoffs have been insane. Every game in overtime. Those have been crazy, man. Crazy. So
Yeah.
it's like, you know, do you want to see, you know, another 24 strikeouts tomorrow night? Or do you want to see, you know, Dame Lillard go for 55 in double OT? What do you want to see, yo?
I want to see Dame Dollar. But absolutely, man. And I guess part of the brand expansion is they're raising awareness for other things. Yesterday was the first inaugural Lou Gehrig's Day, where they remember Lou Gehrig, the Iron Horse, who unfortunately passed away at the age of 36 all those years ago. from ALS. But one of the interesting things to come of that, and that really included that, was the fact that MLB is now diving into NFTs. And the first NFT was Lou Gehrig's Luckiest Man speech. And this is supposed to be backed by Michael Rubin of Fanatics, Gary V, ton of big time heavy hitters that are going to be a part of this. Galaxy Digital, Candy Digital. They're just trying to keep up with the NBA, right? You and I, you taught me so much about it. NBA Top Shop really revolutionized the whole NFT market, and now you've seen Tops try to get involved in it, even though we spoke about this on the side, how Tops really hasn't matched the popularity of NBA Top Shop. And now it looks like the MLB is trying to get directly involved with this, with past things in their archives
Oh
to
yeah.
really further this. So my question to you is, do you think this is a bit overkill, or do you think that this could help Major League Baseball find its way into the hearts of the same people that enjoy the NBA and love NBA Top Shot?
Well, real quick, when it comes to NFTs now and Top Shot, if you don't know what it is and you're like,
What the hell is even that?
what you have to do is subscribe to Six Fam TV, check
That's right.
out the Top Shot videos that we have up. We go in, we talk about it, we talk about how many there are of each moment, and that's what MLB is starting to dive into. I think it's a great thing. I haven't dug into what MLB is doing. The people you mentioned, if they're involved, then it's definitely going to be something that has a lot of verification behind it. So it's great. It's great because the digital ones that we've seen with Tops was not working.
Mhm.
I haven't even heard of it since that drop that happened about a month ago or whatever it was. So if this is like moments like you just mentioned, Lou Gehrig's speech, that's something that I would want. Depending on how many there are and how much it is, that's something that I would want. Do you know if it's gone live yet or the beta has gone up?
So it's saying that the token itself will be released over the 4th of July weekend. So I think this is something that they're trying to have go towards like somewhere around like All-Star break. But yeah, it's expected to drop this year or like in the next month or so.
Yeah. So I mean, it's interesting. I like it, Dan. I mean, you got Jose saying it's sports crypto. Top Shot was huge a few months ago. It started, mellowing out just a little bit since they've gotten a lot of more moments released. It's going to be difficult, I think, for some of the older fans. Dan, you and I, when I started talking to you about it, you were a little reluctant to it. There's still a part of that with both of us, I think, because we're used to having something that's more concrete and like a sports card or something like that, and something that you can display. But maybe this gets to that point one day. But I like it. I'm glad baseball is doing it. Anything to get the younger fan interest. This is a way to do that, and baseball needs to do that really bad.
Indeed. Listen, you want to keep your fans engaged, right? Just like this.
Looks like my dad's dick. I never saw my dad's dick. He still looks like shit. I better not catch Trey and Dakeman. I better not catch Trey and Dakeman. Now, yo, give me a shot at it.
Yo, bro. So we spoke about that video on the side, and we spoke about the fans in general. People are out. All right, we outside.
Dan, one more time, bro.
Yeah.
Dad's dick. I never saw my dad's dick. He still looks like shit. I better not catch Trey and Dakeman. I better not catch Trey and Dakeman. Now, yo, give me a shot at it.
Nah, yo, give me a shot of Henny, and then he just chugs the Henny. That's Spider Cuz. Shout out to Spider Cuz. He does all these videos dressed up in that Spider-Man outfit.
Yo, I love the energy. I don't know all the Trae Young hate, whatever, but it's been fun to be at MSG again. So
yeah, there were a lot of chants that came out of Trae Young. That stupid individual that spat at him, that was ridiculous. You don't want to go that route. You had the thing happen to Russell Westbrook in Philly where he got the popcorn dumped on him. Someone charged the court at the Sixers game the other night, which in DC, which was crazy. I better not catch Trey and Dyke. That's right, yo.
What are you gonna do? What are
Yeah.
you gonna do? He's gonna drop 75 on us.
Yo, I mean, overall, it's been great to see, MSG having 16,000 fans again. Yankee Stadium ramped up their policy as far as fans that are allowed. We were at the game, a couple weeks ago where we had a group of 25, and that was a great experience. So it's great to see that people are back at it, but let's not get too crazy, man. Like they're human beings. They're not animals at the zoo. Okay, at the end of the day, it is a game. But if you want to get crazy, then
Trae Young looks like my dad's dick. I never saw my dad's dick. He still looks like shit. I better not catch Trey and Dankman. I better not catch Trey and Dankman. Now, yo, give me a shot at it.
right, and to seal the deal and process how you're feeling, just take a shot of Henny. All right, that's what it boils down to. So we got the big series coming up against the Red Sox, as you alluded to earlier in the stream. This is going to be the first time that we're meeting them this year. I think the Red Sox have overachieved thus far, and some of that could be credited to Alex Cora. It really seems like they love that dude and they play for that man. I don't really think that this is going to be sustainable. The Red Sox, at the end of the day, they had the offense in JD Martinez and Xander Bogaerts. They had Verdugo and a bunch of other guys, but the pitching has been really carrying them. But at the end of the day, I think the Red Sox are going to be in third place, and I think it's going to come down to, or actually even fourth place. I think it's going to come down to Yankees, Rays, and Blue Jays that are going to be fighting for that top spot. So,
but I got one thing to say.
What's that?
You better not catch Alex Cora and Dykeman. Better not catch. All right, hold on. Let's bring in one of the aficionados. He's been spot on with some of his predictions. Getting ready for the Yanks and Red Sox weekend. Also, Jose has been leading the clubhouse for us on Sunday, week after week now. Let's bring in Mr. Jose Velez, aka Red.
Yo. What up, Hosem?
What up, fellas? What up? Gate six in the house.
What up?
What's up, Jose, peoples? Man?
Hey, don't forget your swag. Get your swag if you haven't gotten it yet.
Swagoo, bro. Everyone got one at the Gate 6 event. There'll be more info coming out for the next Gate 6 event. It's looking like July.
Dope. So what's up?
So Jose, what do you think about this upcoming series? We split. Quickly, what are your thoughts on the Rays actually with the split with the two of four and leading us into this series coming up?
It's more of the same. Last Sunday, I called the 2-2 split. I didn't have confidence in our hitting. Going into the Rays series, and even though our pitching has been great, our hitting has been letting the pitching down, which is what happened in a couple of those games. Today, notwithstanding, which is an aberration, we're playing under the same rules. We should be able to, just try to overcome that, do the best we can. You know what I mean? As far as the Red Sox go, we got King, Taillon, and Herman. Other than Herman, these other two guys, King and Taillon, have been inconsistent from start to start. Taillon's 0-2 in his last 5 starts. King allowed 4 runs against Detroit coming in, albeit in relief. And Herman has been the one that's kind of held it down a little bit, along with Cole, obviously. Giving up 2.5 runs per game in his last 4 or 5 starts, and our bats have just been dormant. We can say whatever we want about Herman and him being spotty early on in the season, but he's been a really solid starter. 5 innings, 5 and change over his last couple starts, and we've wasted a couple of those. I think the key is going to be the Taillon game on Saturday. If we get that game, I feel we'll take 2 of 3. If not, I don't have confidence in King, and I think the only one that I really have confidence in is Herman. Um, at this point, it really just comes down: can we score more than a run and a half per game?
Yeah.
You know,
That and I think a lot of that has to do with the consistency of the lineup, right? One of the comments that I made in the clubhouse was I feel that this whole team are just sort of they there's so much happening with the lineup. Guys are sitting down after, coming back from the IL like Stanton. I think a good example is we see that now since Andujar is getting his reps offensively, he's looking a lot better. I'm not saying that Andujar his situation applies to everybody, but baseball players are weird dudes, man. They need their reps, they need their consistency, their ABs to get into the flow of things. And the way that the game is engineered now, it's really taking that away from them.
I hear you, but I think this team is suffering from a lack of leadership, both players and management. Whether it's Boone or the players on the bench, there's nobody on that bench that is grabbing somebody else by the neck and saying, "Hey, cut the crap. Let's get out there. Let's play." There's nobody that's getting in Aaron Boone's ear and saying, "Hey, what are you doing? We need these guys out there. We need some stability. We need something." There's no voice to this club. And honestly, this club has no identity right now. Who are we? Who are the Yanks? Bronx Bombers? Nope. Pitching squad? Nope. Who are the Yankees right now?
Right.
So we're lacking identity and we're lacking leadership from the players. Nobody's coming forward and taking a stand. And yes, that could be possibly because there's no consistency in the lineup. But you got a guy like Judge who's in there almost every, 3 out of 4 days. He needs to step up.
Right.
He needs to be the guy. He's the face of the team. He needs, I'm not saying he has to be rah-rah, but he needs to have the ear of Boone. He needs to have the ear of the players. And I don't see that happening right now. You know?
I think part of the issue is when you look at the team as far as who's won on the team, the only one that's won a ring is Brett Gardner, right? And that's we're pretty
Preach.
we're pretty removed from that. And Brett Gardner has embraced that role. I think it's a little difficult for someone like Aaron Judge to maybe assume that role because he's on an even playing field with the rest of the team where he's been with his organization since 2015 and doesn't really have much to show for it as far as trophies and rings are concerned.
Dan, I don't want to cut you off. I want you to continue. But I just got a quick question. So,
Yeah.
are you saying that since Judge can't really do that, or maybe he can do that at a later point, do the Yankees need to now or at some point make a move by the deadline to get some sort of veteran leadership that might be able to do something like that?
I think it plays a role. Okay, I mean, obviously he had a average career, but he was someone in the clubhouse that players could relate to. Eric Kratz was somebody that the Yankees rallied around in the past couple of years. Before that, you had other individuals like Todd Frazier, where they rallied around him as well. And to Jose's point, yes, they are missing that spark. They are missing that energy. But I think it's tough to assume that someone like Aaron Judge can take on that role because, A-Rod, when A-Rod was with the Yankees, A-Rod was, one of the best players in baseball, if not the best. He was just never down with that leadership role. That wasn't something that he liked to embrace. That was really more Derek Jeter's thing. Now, the thing with Judge is that it's interesting because there have been instances where he has shown those leadership qualities, but I'm not quite sure if he's fully committed or even if he were, people that have been playing by his side the last 5 years could sort of look at him and just be like, yo, bro, like, all right, yeah, you've hit a couple home runs and you made some nice plays in the outfield, but what do you really have to show for it? The same thing that I do.
Understood, but I think at some point, in order for players to take that next step, they have to step up, right? Are you going to be just another player? That's fine. You could be another player. Or are you going to take that step to carry? Now, I don't want to say carry because carry is a strong word, but to put this team in a position where they're going to follow you, where you're the leader, where you're going to come out and make sure that the guys next to you are playing just as hard as you are. LeMahieu, maybe, but he's not a homegrown guy, and he's also very quiet. Glaber, not so much. Gio, no. Stanton's barely in the lineup. Brett Gardner, all due respect, John, he's on the way out. He's on the downside of his career. So that's why I point to Judge. Now, can we trade for somebody who's out there? You know, who's
Yeah.
out there that can come in and be a voice and like, hey, give one of these guys a smack in the back of the head and say, hey, wake up. Wake up.
Maybe a voice emerges somewhere down the line. Dan, you posted something in the group about Luis Severino coming up soon, and if he comes up, that's like a big acquisition for us if he turns out to be what we're hoping, or at least what he used to be.
Right.
But Jose, Dan, maybe what you guys are saying is we need it to some extent. We need a vocal leader, and that also does some of the leadership on the field. Judge does his leadership on the field. He's the best player right now. He's been hitting the best. He's our best player by far at this point. Is he going to be that rah-rah guy, Jose? I don't know. Maybe that ends up being somebody else, or maybe he emerges into that some point throughout the season. I don't see it.
Here's the
You
thing, right? Say what you want about Jeter. He wasn't the rah-rah guy. He was the guy on the field, but he had Joe Torre's ear.
Mm.
He had Joe Torre's ear. He spoke to Torre, and Torre held his opinion in high regard. Whether he took it or not, that's another story. But he held his opinion in high regard, and Jeter spoke up for those guys in the dugout in any which way. And you don't have to be the rah-rah guy, but you got to be somebody that can go up to the manager and be like, "Yo, what's going on here?
Yeah,
You're killing us."
that's a fact. I mean, I'm sure early on in his career, Jeter and Torre were together for a few years. He came up um, in '95, and Torre came in 96. So I think as a young player, it wasn't like that. But you're right. With winning a couple championships, it started to get to that point. And he was named captain much later.
I think the general issue is that over time the relationship between manager and player has evolved into something different. Um, you don't really, aside from Tony La Russa, managers now are maybe 10 years older than most of the players. So I think that creates a very difficult dynamic as far as, at least in the Torre Jeter hierarchy, there was this seniority of Torre where Jeter respected him because he was his elder and he was someone of a baseball mind and knew the game very well. And Torre appreciated the fact that Jeter was respectful of that. Now you have a lot of the managers that are just trying, they're basically hired to be the buddies of these players. And I think that creates a very difficult situation in the clubhouse, because it's like, all right, we're friends, but then when stuff gets real, how am I gonna bark at my friend?
Mm.
And I think that relationship, how it's evolved and where it is now in Major League Baseball, has created a very different dynamic for this team and for many other teams too. Girardi was still of that old school mindset where he wasn't the friends of the guys; he was their manager. Aaron Boone was hired to be the friend and pamper Gary Sanchez and a few of the other guys. That's the philosophy where the team is at the moment. So going back to what I said earlier, I think we're not going to see significant change until we go back to some of the things that allowed this franchise to be so dominant 20 years ago. But will the game revert back to that? Probably not, because the athlete has more standing now than ever.
This team needs to find its identity and stick with it. If not, it's going to be doomed to fail all over again. And it's getting late early. It's not April anymore. It's almost June 3rd. We're going to blink. It's going to be late June. And if we don't make something happen, if this team doesn't change how it goes about playing the game, because those stupid mistakes on the base paths shouldn't happen. We're better than that. If we don't change how we approach this game, or somebody doesn't make a change to get it through to these guys that, hey, we're in some instances, we're losing the game ourselves. We have nobody to blame but ourselves in certain instances.
We're gonna have to get it together, and hopefully there is an identity by the time it hits mid-July or by the deadline. That's usually the point where I like to judge the team overall, and not necessarily predict where they're gonna go, but get us a feeling for if this is a team that can go the distance or not. Right around that time. But you're right, that time is coming up. We're only a month and a half away from that. But it starts with this series. I think the Yankees are going to take 2 out of 3 against Boston since it's at home. What do you think?
If we take the Saturday game with Taillon
Domingo?
on the mound, if we take Saturday with Taillon, I think Domingo's been pitching well enough where we'll take 2 or 3. But it's going to come down to the Taillon start.
Yeah, I agree. I think 2 or 3 is safe to say. Michael King, he's been serviceable, but I don't really think Michael King has a significant future with this team. He's just kind of here right now just to be the bulk guy. And obviously with Kluber out and the inconsistency of Garcia, he's going to be getting the tap on his shoulder. So I go 2 out of 3. But, even if we take 2 out of 3, or if we go for the sweep, then we find ourselves in a better position. It's not the best right now that the Rays actually have a pretty easy couple series ahead in facing Baltimore and then facing the Nationals as well. So they could easily be in a better position, but we have to focus on our games and play the games that are presented to us in our schedule. So
spot on, Dan. I don't even want to listen and look at other people's series right now. I just want this team to get it together. Let's worry about us right now.
Just win,
baby.
So we got to do,
And if we don't win, we can always just complain like this.
It looks like my dad's dick. I never saw my dad's dick. He still looks like shit.
Yo, Knicks fans are just straight OD, man. Just OD.
Yo, we here.
Yeah, we here. No doubt, fellas. Well, as always, this has been an absolute delight. We're going to be doing some more things. We got some new stuff. Actually, John and I, we were able to pick up some Bowman, so we'll be doing some Bowman breaks soon as he gets back from his undisclosed location with that wooden panel behind him looking all flashy and such. The focus is going to be more on the Yanks. Obviously, now we're getting towards the All-Star break. I did my first All-Star vote already today. I think it came out. You could cast your vote as well by typing in MLB vote 2021, and you could cast your vote. Honestly, as far as Yankees go, I only voted for Gio Urshela to be a position player. I voted for a lot of other people that actually deserve it. Now, if this team proves me wrong, then I would be happy to change my vote to let that be an incentive for them to meet in the Midsummer Classic, which is actually going to be in Colorado this year. You know what I mean?
I better not catch the Red Sox at Dykeman.
No, better not catch them in Dykeman, man. I'll be in Dykeman at some point. But, as always, we like to wish you many blessings, great health. Until next time, we love you, fam. Stay safe.
Figure the pace. I'm about to chase money in case, clean up base.